Hello, students. Hope you all are safe and sound at your home. Today I am here with a new topic, Human Eye, from the chapter Human Eye and the Colorful World. So, why we need to learn about this? We have to learn about human eye because it is a very valuable and sensitive sense organ of our body, and it also enables us to see the wonderful world and the color around us. And you might have observed that sometimes your friends are wearing spectacles of different kind of lenses, and to know which defect they are suffering from, we need to know about the structure of the eye, both morphologically as well as anatomically. So in this video I will tell you something about the morphological parts and the anatomical parts of the eye. So let's get started with it. So in the first slide, you can see there are many protective parts which are protecting our delicate eye, like eyelid, eyelashes, sclera, and there is one lining called the conjunctiva. So this eyelid protects our eyes physically and also prevent drying of the eyes. And it also have a pumping function. You might have observed when you cry, the excess of water that accumulates inside our eyes are pumped out with the help of the eyelids. Apart from this, eyelid also covers our eyes while sleeping and ensures the and also regulates the amount of light entering to the eye. Coming to eyelashes, eyelashes are the hair around the eyes which sense if something is coming near to our eye. It warns our eye and so that we can close it. Coming to this conjunctiva, conjunctiva is the lining just behind the eyelashes. This conjunctiva is also protective in nature and it keeps the eye moist and lubricated. It also helps reducing the friction while opening and closing of the eyelid. Then this sclera is the white part of the eye and it is opaque, and so that the light cannot pass through this scleral part, and it is fibrous and it is made up of collagen and elastic fiber. In the sclera, there is iris, the colored part. Some of us have blue, black, brown color eyes. So this is because of this iris. The color of the iris is given by the genes. And in the iris, there is one pupil. Pupil is nothing but the black hole, hole-like structure from where the light goes inside the eye. Apart from this structure, there is lacrimal gland. Lacrimal gland is nothing but the tear gland from where the tear goes to the lacrimal sac, where lacrimal sac is the reservoir of the tears. Then one more important part is this caruncle. Caruncle is the pink colored thin membrane at the corner. It contains oil and sweat glands. You might have observed while waking up at the morning, some whitish material accumulates at the corner of eyes. This is because this caruncle. Hope you understood the outer parts of the eyes. Now let's move on to the anatomical parts of the human eye, which can be learned in two parts, that is parts present inside and the layers of the eyes. There are basically three layers of the eyes: outermost protective layer, then middle nutritive layer, and inner sensory pigmented layer. You can see in this video which I collected from YouTube. So you can see here that our eye is nearly spherical in shape, and the outermost covering has two parts. The posterior, this greenish part, which is colored by green, is the 5/6 part called the sclera, and the anterior 1/6 part is cornea. So cornea is the front part of the eye which is transparent and helps the lights to enter into the eye, and most of the refraction takes place here. While sclera is the opaque part, I already told you, and the white part of the eye. Inside to this sclera, posteriorly, there is a vascular membrane, that is the middle membrane called choroid. It is highly vascularized, having blood vessels which gives nourishment to the eye. This choroid anteriorly gives out ciliary body, and from the ciliary body this iris comes out. Iris is the colored part of the eye, as I told earlier. So this choroid is the middle layer which gives nourishment to the eye, and the ciliary body is attached to the lens, this convex lens of our eye. So after this, inner to this middle layer, there is inner sensory pigmented layer which is called the retina. So again, retina has two parts, that is the highly pigmented part and the neural part. Retina is highly pigmented because colored the dark color absorbs more light, so it need to be highly pigmented so that most of the light gets absorbed, while the neural layer of the retina have some photoreceptor cells like rod cells and cone cells. This is the cell which convert the electromagnetic light into electrochemical signals. So cone cells are of three types. Hope you understood this video. Now going to the types of cones. So there are three types of cones um, depending on the color they are absorbing in the visible light. Like short wave cone, that is blue, when it is absorbing light in the blue region. Then wave cone, that is green, and long wave cone, that is red. You can see here in this picture, the blue cones are the short wave cones which are absorbing in the blue region, and green cones and red cones. So this is the region where they absorb the maximum light. When the light is entering through the cornea, it passes through the lens and refracted and get absorbed by the retina. Here you can see, and from the retina, through the retina, it's going inside to the retinal epithelial cells where the photoreceptive cells are present. These photoreceptors, when absorb the light, convert the electromagnetic light into electrochemical signals with the help of these neurons, and through these neurons it is passes through the optic nerve and ultimately goes to the brain, and the signals when perceived by the brain forms the image which we see. So this is how our eye works. Okay. Coming to other parts of the eyes, apart from sclera, choroid, retina, there are few more structures. Like if we see from anterior side, first is cornea. Then between the cornea and the eye lens, there is a fluid part which is called the aqueous humor. Aqueous humor is the transparent liquid which helps to refract light, and to so that the refracted light can focus on the retina. Same kind of liquid is also present in between the lens and the retina, which is called the vitreous humor or the vitreous body, which have the similar function like the aqueous humor. After the aqueous humor, there is this grayish color you are seeing. This is nothing but the iris, which gives the color to the eye, and which I told you that depends on the genetic factor. And the function of the iris is to control this pupil. It controls the pupil so that the light can enter inside. Mm, Iris muscles controls the size of the pupil. So what is the pupil? I said that pupil is the hole from where the you can see the light path going inside and touching the retina. So what happens when there is bright light, then people become smaller in size. You can look at someone's eyes carefully. You will see that when bright light is falling on the eye, the pupil is getting smaller, and when there is dim light, the pupil expands. So this is because of this iris. After pupil, there is this convex lens. Convex lens is, as you know, it forms the real and inverted image. It is jelly-like elastic material. You might have seen some people also use lens that is also very elastic, artificial lens. And this lens is held by ciliary muscles. The ciliary muscles um, holds this lens in its place and regulates the curvature of the lens. What happens when the ciliary muscles get relaxed? The lens becomes thin and its focal length is increased. This enables us to see distant objects clearly. Okay, so what I said just now, when ciliary muscles, these muscles get relaxed, then the lens becomes thin and its focal length is increased. Whereas when the when the ciliary muscles get contracted, so opposite things will happen, like the lens becomes thicker and its focal length decreases, and we will be able to see the nearby objects. This is how the ciliary muscles functions in accordance with the lens. Understood? So apart from this, there is this ora serrata. Ora serrata is the junction between this retina and the ciliary muscle. So, see, in the anterior side, you can see the retina do not have any photoreceptor cell, that is, no rod cells or cone cells are present at the anterior side of the retina, but it is present at the posterior side. So, it is the non-photoreceptive zone, whereas this is the highly photoreceptive zone. So, the junction of this both of this is called ora serrata. Then you can see here there is macula lutea and fovea centralis. This is the point which gives sharp detailed central vision. This when the light falls here, we can get a sharp image because the concentration of cone cells are more here. Okay. Then there is one more point, this point. You can see all the optic nerves are going out through this point. So this point is called the blind spot or the optic disc. This blind spot is the point from where all the optic nerves leaves the eyes and goes to the brain. At this point, uh, whatever image is formed is not perceived by the brain because at this point cone cells and rod cells are absent. So this is it. This is the Hope you understood the interior parts of the eyes. In the slide, you can see all the parts of the eyes are labeled and along with their functions. You can see the pupil, how it is dilated in the dim light and contracted in the bright light. Hope you understood. Thank you so much. Hope you find this video helpful.